Hi, my name is Elisa Chaku. I'm presenting Action Research Presentation.
Changing students' attitudes towards learning French through the use of technology. In this statement, I have focused my research problem on authentic second language acquisition and creating an appreciation for the Francophone culture, which will lead students to an increase of confidence and language acquisition in French. I hold a social constructivist worldview in that I believe that language and culture are integral to our society and to our understanding of ourselves. An understanding of the language and culture will enable one to become a true global citizen because they are able to interact and communicate with all types of communities and people. This links to my core values because two of my core values. One of my core values is having an appreciation and respect for different cultures and languages. Learning French provides a unique opportunity for students to engage in learning more about the Francophone world, which extends beyond France. Another one of my core values is creating a safe and positive learning environment where students are encouraged to take risks and to make mistakes. This is especially important in an FSL classroom because taking risks is part of language acquisition.
As a core French teacher, I found it difficult to shift students' attitudes towards learning French. I've often heard phrases such as, I don't like French, what's the point of learning this? French is hard. These statements are very hard to hear as a French teacher and admirer of the Francophone language and culture. And it was in my last teaching block where I was determined to find ways to change these attitudes. Initially I did try many non-technological techniques, but I found that some students struggled and were not engaged. As a response to this, I used technology-based teaching and learning techniques, which did increase student engagement, but attitudes towards learning French still had not changed. So my next problem is trying to authentically use technology to change attitudes towards French culture and language learning.
So this leads in well to my research question. How can core French teachers bring the real Francophone world into the classroom through technology, thereby changing students' attitude towards learning and communicating in French?
Definition of terms. French as a second language, FSL, is a second language program offered in Ontario that caters to different levels of language acquisition: French immersion, extended French, partial immersion, and core French. Francophone is a person whose first language is French. Technology. Kohler and all define technology in the teaching profession as analog and digital, as well as new and old technologies. Digital technologies. Kohler and all define digital technologies as a computer, handheld device, and software applications that are consistently changing and evolving. The Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge, TPAC, is a framework for integrating technology into the classroom.
The Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge article talks about how to integrate technology into the classroom using the framework of TPAC, which talks about content knowledge, pedagogical content knowledge, and technological knowledge. Basically, the main idea of this is using all of these different elements together in order to create a good program. And to use technology with purpose. This type of framework puts the onus on the teacher to take risks in integrating new technologies in their practice. So that kind of is where the gap is. If the teacher doesn't have a good understanding of the technology they're using, then it doesn't work. But this article notes that technology is a tool to help facilitate the learning, but that the teacher should still provide the pedagogical content knowledge and the content knowledge as well as a way to guide the students. So if I wanted my students to learn more about Francophone culture, then I would help facilitate this by placing students in groups to research Francophone cuisine, or by having a classroom Skype interview with another Francophone country. But again, I would have to prepare my students, and I would have to know my learner before conducting something like this. Technology just helps facilitate the learning. This article is called Process Drama in the Core French Classroom Using Global Simulation. The main idea of this article is helping create creating an environment that immerses the student into the language and culture. The article presents a cross-curricular approach to learning French, which involves students creating their own universe. It incorporates drama, so using in this case would be old technologies, so using drama techniques and things like that to help facilitate the learning is important. This also allows students to take responsibility and ownership of their work because they are creating their own universe, and later will be filming it, which incorporates a digital technology portion. The results are students are motivated to learn and they are engaged in interactive, language-rich, and student-centered activities. Relevance, you can use technology in this context as well, which can help enhance the learning. Gap this is just a piloted type of research which was done on a limited number of classes. So in order to better understand the effectiveness of this type of approach, they would need to expand this study. So that is one of the limitations of this particular. The article, The Teaching of Culture Guidelines from the National Core French Study of Canada, is one that focuses on teaching culture in the core French curriculum, stating that teaching culture should extend beyond the Canadian and French or France context, so talking about the Francophone world. It also says that it's important to create links between the culture being studied and the student's own culture. The results are that teachers should be really careful with the types of books and resources that they use when they're teaching about culture and how they teach about culture. Relevance to me is, especially in this technology-based world, where you have a lot of resources, it's very important to select resources that are developmentally and linguistically appropriate for students. And gaps, this article is a little bit dated, but it's still relevant and offers a good summary of terms and topics and themes that of Francophone culture that teachers can use when they're teaching about culture. This next article is called Strategies for the National Approach to Second Language Education. This article really just talks about the areas of improvements for the French core program that needs to be addressed. This is a really good resource because it helps create a pathway for me in terms of creating a meaningful French program and what I need to consider in order to create such a program. So the result is that it encourages teachers to make French real. It encourages teachers to network with other teachers so as to develop a community and create those. And this is especially important if you want to link technology, so you can, link one classroom to the next classroom, create activities together, create real-world opportunities to practice French. So even telling students of opportunities where you can use French and providing them with resources. So for French summer jobs, travel, etc. And they said that even providing core French as a prerequisite to having a French summer job is something that should be considered and enhances the program as well. Relevance, again, provides a pathway in terms of designing a meaningful French program for me. The next one is Teaching Core French Through the Arts is the next article. This study focuses on the attitudes of grade 9 applied students enrolled in French. This is especially interesting that they focused on grade 9 because after grade 9 students tend not to take French anymore, and it is also the last year that they're required to take French. So the study found that many of the students' attitude towards learning French was due to the lack of realness that the program offered for them. And it suggests that in order to create an authentic learning environment, there needs to be a focus on hands-on learning activities that promote and encourage communication and listening. However, the study stresses that there needs to be an authentic context for this type of learning to be considered real. So it suggests integrating the arts So dance, drama, and the and art, visual arts, is a way to create this type of authentic context, and the results were that the students' attitudes had shifted, and there was an increase in their willingness to speak in French. The medium that they use, again, the medium that they used was art, dance, and drama, which exposed them also to the francophone culture and allowed them to participate in the culture as well. And by integrating technology into these types of technology, which is not digital, but old technology as they call it, it allows students to experience learning using all different types of learning styles, so kinesthetic, audio, and visual, thereby further increasing their appreciation for the language and culture. The data sources that I've chosen to use are checklists, anecdotal notes, interviews, and teacher journals. Checklists are why I've chosen to use this. Are checklists can be used to note down the learning goals for the tasks or activities, who the students will be observed, how the teacher I will use the learning goals for the lesson and use technology as a way to deliver and achieve these goals, and note down if technology helps me in achieving these goals. Anecdotal notes is my second type of data source. This is more focusing. The reason why I'm choosing anecdotal notes is because I'm observing spontaneous student behavior. I'm going to be observing the students and I'm taking notes on them. How I will focus on 4 to 5 students a day and provide anecdotal notes on their behavior and engagement in the classroom activities. Data source 3 is interviews. This is just to understand where the students are coming from in terms of why they're not enjoying French and what can be done to improve the French program. Again, the students will be involved in this discussion, but also and it's going to be student-led while the teacher takes notes, or it could do it otherwise, as in it's teacher-led and teacher also makes notes during that time. Interviews will also be conducted with other teachers, other French teachers, to note down what their observations are and what they think needs to be changed. How again, I just focus groups, wide discussion, or pre-planned questions that will help me to better design a program that will meet these views and basically stay a little bit on task in terms of what I'm looking to get out of these answers. Finally, teacher journal is my last type of data source that I'm using. I'm using this to reflect on lesson and instructional strategies that I am going to be using throughout these lessons and throughout the program. I will be involved. I will also have my colleagues involved as well, my fellow French colleagues who will sit in one of these lessons and make their own notes and provide me with some feedback. How I will reflect after class at the end of the day and we'll just jot down some notes in terms of what can be improved.
Triangulation of data is important because it helps to ensure the validity of research and the progress of the project, and all these data are being used to gather information for different purposes. So my interview data is for me to get an understanding of attitudes towards French and towards French by the students. And my anecdotal records is more focusing on behavior and their response to these learning activities. And checklists is more tying in curriculum expectations and seeing how these activities and how technology is helping to reach these learning goals. Teacher journals is used throughout each of these steps because it's important that you self-evaluate and evaluate instructional strategies and lessons as well. At the timeline chart, so anecdotal records will be once a week from September to March, focusing on different students weekly. Checklists, weekly checklists on students being able to reach their learning goals, and the focus will be on general activities in the beginning and lead to more culturally specific ones towards as we move on in terms of learning goals. Interviews once in September to get students' opinions, December for an update on opinions and attitudes, and finally March, where we will conduct our final interview to determine changes in confidence, motivation, attitudes, and self-assessment of language competency. Teacher journals will be done daily at the end of the day and from the beginning of the project, so September to March. In order to maintain confidentiality, I'll recognize the 4 types of ethics when conducting my research project. Ethics of care, I will exercise this by getting the consent of students, parents, and the principal. I will send a letter home outlining the goal of the project and ask students to return it back, signed by parents as well as themselves if they want the results and behaviors shared in the study. I will exercise openness by sharing with students the purpose of the project and invite them to ask more questions in order to gain a better understanding of what they will be participating in. Also sharing the completed findings of students, parents, and principal. I will exercise hope by having the goal of this project be changing students' attitudes towards learning another language and culture. It will benefit students because it will allow them to gain an appreciation for another culture and enjoy French more through the use of technology. And I will exercise the ethics of responsibility by making sure that the students understand that they are taking part in a research study and what that research asks of them. The Action Research Project will provide me information on how to improve the French core program, and it'll allow me to investigate current attitudes and speak with students and colleagues to determine how we can change and better this program. And I think technology, student-centered, and um, authentic learning experiences are the key in creating such an environment that creates confidence in the students and also an appreciation for the Francophone culture.